This is CHSR 97.9 FM here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. This is Python's Paradise, your film and music show, and this is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena. And folks, you know, when I was young, I was afraid of horror films. Of course, I'm 47 as I do this broadcast, but I remember when I was a young teenager, I got talked into watching Friday the 13th Part 2. It became the first time I seen a naked woman in a movie. Actually, it became the first time I seen a naked woman, period. So it was an eye-opener. And I remember that concluding scene, that crash through the window. And, I have the guy who was under all that makeup and the hair on the half of his head. Yes, I have Warrington Gillette on the phone with me as Jason. How do you do, Warrington?
I'm good, thank you. Pleasure to be on your show.
Yes.
Greetings.
Well, I felt bad. I know recently Steve Dash had passed away, and of course I don't know what Jerry Wallace is up to. I only found out recently that a woman was Jason walking across that street during the opening there. That was kind of funny. But sorry to hear that Steve is gone, but I'm really glad that you're around. And that crash through the window, I gotta say, I was sitting watching the movie with my cousin years and years ago, and when that scene happened, she got up, screamed, and rushed out of the room.
Well, yeah, my condolences to Steve Dash, but all he did was to try to make a mess of the whole thing, and he was just upset that I was credited with the role of Jason too. He was upset that I did the bulk of the stuff up there. And then the scene that you referred to where I blast through the window, then he really got upset when the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Science, they did a tribute to horror, and they give me an Academy Award as that was the best scene ever made in horror.
What year did that happen?
He wasted all this energy just being angry the whole time when he could have taken a step back and said, hey, you know what? I'm thankful. In life, you got to show a little gratitude for things that come your way. And just be thankful you're in the brand. Instead of being angry to every fan, angry, I'm credited with the role. That's fine. He did some stuff. I did the bulk of the stuff. I of course, got the fabulous scene through the window. And that's a fact. And that's it. So, yeah, he passed away, and he passed away angry. And then he spent all his time signing other people's merchandise, the real Jason, which is a bit absurd because if you really want to make a reference to who is the real Jason, why don't we give kudos to Kane Hodder that did 4 of them? He certainly put in more time on the brand than any of the other Jasons. He did 7, 8, 9, 10. So anyhow, we really didn't need all this controversy over this part. We're thankful we're part of the brand, and we really take our hat off to all those people, all those fans, all those actors that made this brand what it is today after our involvement.
Okay. Wasn't, I'm trying to think of the name, Cliff, who?
Yeah, I don't remember. Cliff Cudney? Are you talking about the stunt coordinator?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen him since we filmed it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And I have no idea half the stuff they talk about. Here it is, a long time later. I know what I did. I know the ramp on the outside of that house, the platform. It was 3 steps and then blast through the window. There were no winches and Cliff Cudney cranes. There were no ropes. I wasn't on a rope on an arc, arcing through the window. What are they talking about? That was a matter of. And the first time I hit that window, I ricocheted off of it because I was young. I can't say I had any experience diving through windows before. It's not your normal course of events, okay?
Okay.
And I was young. I'm still young. Okay.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I don't know what Cliff Cudney's talking about. I know what I did, and I know what's on film. And you can see the film. There's nothing encumbering me. There's nothing attached to my arms, nothing attached to my back. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay.
That was a clean, kick-ass stunt, and it did get an award as the best scene ever made in horror. So let's all be thankful that we did it.
Okay. What was I lost my train of thought here?
You asked me about Cliff. Now you asked me some other stuff.
Well, I wasn't going to get into the controversy, but nonetheless,
Well, you brought his name up, so you know that is what it is. And every convention we do, everybody brings us merchandise to sign, and there it is, Steve Dash, the real Jason. But he's not the real Jason. Stupid.
okay. Well,
So he's the one that put that tag on his legacy, you know, where I take the position, hey, you know what? I'm thankful and grateful that I'm part of the brand.
okay.
And we're having conversations like this that, yes, and I'm thankful to the fans that recognize me for what I did. I mean, I'm really overwhelmed and grateful.
Okay, talk about you probably get this question a lot, but talk about getting the part.
Well, like any young person, you have to go through the process of gaining representation, although today things might be different because people are seeing these casting calls directly on internet and stuff like that. Well, we didn't have that back then in the early 80s. So I went to the best acting schools I could go to, Lee Strasberg in Manhattan. I also was attending acting schools in Los Angeles, some of the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going back and forth. You get an agent that represents you, and then the agent submits you for whatever they can that they feel that you would be appropriate type and to be cast in that role. So my agent submitted me for the counselor at the camp.
Okay.
And we went through all those readings. I guess it was ultimately played by John Fury. And then when they went with John Fury, the director says, "We like you. We want you to be part of this. You've been a stunt guy from Hollywood Stuntman Association, so maybe you do the stunts related to the role of Jason Voorhees."
Okay.
And at that time, Jason didn't exist, so we really didn't know what to expect.
Well, you say you're the first Jason, but what would you say to arguments about Ari Lehman in Part 1?
Ari Lehman.
Or Armin Lehman.
Well,
sorry.
he calls himself First Jason, and I might be referred to as First Jason to Kill. You got to admit, the whole premise of the brand was built around Mommy, Betsy Palmer, who's getting revenge over the death of her son. And Mommy's up there whacking all the counselors at Camp Crystal Lake because she was under the information and belief that her son had drowned due to the negligence of the counselor. So she went up there on a mission of justice and revenge, and she's whacking everybody until her head gets wafted off in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you're sitting peacefully in your chair. The movie is ending, and the killer is decapitated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then boom, out of the lake. Oh, here comes Jason. So that was a startling moment where Jason is I guess surviving the alleged drowning, and he comes flying up out of the lake.
Well, he's got a band.
Yeah, that's the first time you saw Jason. Yes,
Yeah.
that was Ari Lehman. But
Yeah.
he didn't really do anything beyond coming out of the lake.
He's got a band right now called First Jason. That's going to be, I guess, part of 13 Fanboy, which I'm a co-producer on right now. But did you ever hear?
Well,
Yep.
good for him. You know, he's doing what he can do. He's out there.
Yeah.
And he's riding the Jason wave. So I guess he's First Jason, and I'm First Jason to Kill.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was interviewing a guy I'm associated with online named Troy Elke, and he came up with some interesting theories. I don't know what you'll think of this. I think it's quite intriguing, but he says, because he talks about the continuity, especially in Jason's appearance, between parts 2 and part 3. Especially in part 3, he doesn't have any hair, and the clothes are different. But he says that he has a theory that part 2, the killer was Elias Voorhees, and that Jason had witnessed or was taught by Elias. Now, of course, this is a theory, but I want to know what you think of that.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, Elias being what? His father? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, that's his father.
I just don't know. You know, the creators of this project, who I believe intended it to be the son, Jason, who had just grown up and he was getting larger. And then with each sequel, he's getting larger. But I tend to believe, yeah, it was Jason. And, you know, the part 2 is really the beginning of him on his rampage, killing for mommy. So I don't think that's plausible. That's just me.
Okay.
And I don't think that was the intent of Victor Miller and all the gang to have that interpretation.
Okay. I hear various rumors. Was Sean S. Cunningham involved in any way in part 2? Because I know his wife edited.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think, not that I know of, because, you know, all I know is that, you know, Frank Mancuso, the son of the president of Paramount, was somewhat putting it all together with the writers and then engaging director Steve Miner. And, you know, then all of a sudden you're hired and you're on the set working. It's not like I'm involved with any of those people at that level. And I was interacting only with other cast members, interacting with special effects makeup artist Carl Fullerton, who went on to have a big career.
Silence of the Lambs, yep.
And Steve Miner.
Yep, who did the third one as well.
And then I don't know what happened when I wasn't there. So they were using me for all the time. I was SAG actor. They're paying me SAG day rate. That's fine. And I'm sure Carl Fullerton may have walked through the woods, and you say this other chick walked across the road. I mean, who knows? And they don't invite the cast to be part of the editing process, so I really don't know.
Okay.
And then when I wasn't there, I was back in New York City doing my thing. So they were busy finishing it up, and it took about a month to make it.
Okay.
And you're only having this conversation because subsequent to what we did, it went on to become one of the biggest brands in the film industry.
That indeed. In fact, part 2 was the first one I had seen. And
funny.
Yep. So, and I remember that well, because there was like 2 or 3 kills, and it wasn't until Kirsten Baker did her little skinny dip that my mom came in and turned the television off.
Yeah, she was looking strong out there in that lake.
Yeah. Well,
my goodness.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well, I'll tell you, that was something I definitely remember. I interviewed Russell Todd, and he told me if I ever interviewed Kirsten Baker, she'd love to hear that story, that she was the first woman I ever seen nude.
Unbelievable. Yeah, they said it was a closed set and nobody could really watch, but everybody was sneaking all over the place to try to get a glimpse of that. Whew.
I heard some contrasting stories that Kirsten didn't care and just did it. Now, I mean,
it was still a closed set, you know. And
okay.
There was nudity, and you had a chick in the cast walking around naked, and they didn't particularly want a crowd there.
Well, she did her thing, and but yeah, that scene where you come through the window, of course, you have like you got half your head got hair on it. I actually like that look on Jason, to be frank, but half of it is balding. And how long was that in the makeup chair?
About 7 hours. It was
So,
beyond comprehension, and it was painful. And yeah, they taped one eye shut, shaved your head, and then they got a skull cap on you. And then, yeah, they're rebuilding the hair, rebuilding the beard. And there was probably 12 layers of prosthetics, each piece, so that it all really came to life. And the prosthetics are all glued on your face. Each hair is put in the beard. And then the makeup on top of the prosthetics, once they're all glued onto your face.
okay.
So you'd be in the makeup chair at noon, and they'd commence filming at when it got dark, so that'd be about 7 or 8. And then you would work all the way till the sun comes up.
There's a lot of night shoots, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're living your days opposite. So that's a painful makeup process. And then they had a whole set of dentures that had every deformity that they could come up with dentists. So then that denture plate would go in, then they build lips around that. So your jaw is out of line.
Yes.
And your eye is closed. And it is not comfortable.
I guess you weren't at the catering table very often.
No, you're not allowed to eat.
No.
No.
So you had to do that while starving.
I think you could drink with a straw. That's it. But then the plus of that is you get meal penalties for every hour that you can't eat after so many hours.
Okay. All right.
So, believe me, you're not feeling good because you got zero. Yeah, you're only drinking, and your eye, the depth perception is way off when you close off an eye. So if you want to create a stunt where you're going to blast through a window with one eye, it's hard to judge the distance and when you take off. So you have to time your steps. 1, 2, 3, boom, take off. 1, 2, 3, boom.
I never understood the continuity there too, because of course in part 2 it's his left eye that's open. Now in the final chapter, part 4, where Ted White plays Jason, you see this great work by Tom Savini where the machete goes into Jason's head, and of course he's sliding down the machete, and that's in his other eye. But then you see him in the subsequent film, and they don't exactly explore those injuries, because if he was cut in the eye that he could see out of in the final chapter, wouldn't he be kind of blind by the time he came out of that? Of course, maybe they just gone by somebody who's a zombie, so rules don't apply.
Yeah, I mean, that there are many other issues that you could question beyond that. Yeah, like how, Jason, you can't kill him. So, he's taking this hit and that hit and stabbed here, stabbed there. And he keeps rolling. He keeps going.
Well, Adam Marcus attempted to explain that in Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, because they brought in the Book of the Dead from the Evil Dead movies, and you can even see the crate from Creepshow apparently in there as well, where the whole... have you seen the Evil Dead movies?
No.
Okay. Well, there's that force that I can't even really explain it, but that is what they're tying in that brought Jason first to life. In part 6, Jason Lives.
Right.
Yep. So,
Jason lives. He's unstoppable.
Yep. So, that's where I would go with that. I guess it's probably the best way to explain it, because I think the only reason Jason lives is because the movies kept making money, until Jason Takes Manhattan tanked and didn't exactly go to Manhattan. And then
Yeah, I don't get that. It becomes a little far out, like almost stupid.
well, Jason X I thought was the worst one. And I can deal with Jason Takes Manhattan, but Jason X, it's almost like the Room of the franchise. You watch it for a laugh, but well, I'm glad Kane Hodder had fun with those, so there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So what was it like working with Steve Miner? What kind of director did you perceive him as?
He's pretty good. He's smart. We all were very young, so I really had no sense of comparison of anything else because that was the first major feature film I worked on.
Mm-hmm.
So you're young, you're excited, and you're actually on a feature film. Oh my God! And since they had a history of releasing one before that, then you were pretty confident that this one was going to get released.
Okay, yeah.
As opposed to working with a director on a set and wondering if it would ever be sold or released.
Do you ever feel bad you didn't get to wear the hockey mask?
Yeah, but they were hell bent on changing the Jason with every part until they got to part 7. So I didn't waste too much time on it. Plus, any acting work that I would be doing or from this point in my life forward, I got to be involved with being a character,
Mm-hmm.
like with dialogue and human relationships.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he didn't have a whole lot to say, I didn't sweat it that hard that they went on with Richard Booker in part 3, somebody else part 4, 5, part 6, C.J. Graham, and now the guy's really getting big. So my size was nowhere near C.J. Graham. He's a big, strong guy, still is.
Yep.
And then Kane after that. So, again, I was thankful that I had my participation in it, and, that was that.
Okay. Do you have any memorabilia from the film?
No.
No?
Not that long ago. And, when you left the film, I think it had been lost, but the only thing I did have were the teeth, but they're long gone. Long gone. I think maybe in the Malibu fires. But you weren't walking out of there with clothing, the coveralls, the boots. Nuh-uh.
No.
That's all their property.
Okay. Well, I got
that blue. I'd love to know where the hell that blue lumberjack shirt is. It's got to be some archive right now.
Yeah, I know, because when Richard Brooker did the part in part 3, like he had no hair, and Jason's wardrobe was completely different.
Yeah, so that clothes, who knows what art director scarfed it up, kept it.
Yeah.
And now you're having a conversation. Good Lord. I don't want to date myself, but now you're talking, well, how many years ago was 82?
81.
30 years ago?
81 for your film.
Lordy. How long ago was that?
I don't know. I would have been 9 in 1981, so. And I'm 47
I was
now.
13. I was 12. Hey, I love to tell people, at the time I did it, I was the youngest Jason, obviously, and then I say I still am the youngest Jason.
Are you younger than Ari?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I did not know that. Of course, I didn't keep track of his age either, so. Okay.
That's right.
All right.
One of them is older. We have a Dick Whelan. I think he's 90.
Ted White is 92 or 93 right now.
Oh, Lord. Yeah, good
and
for him.
he's as sharp as a tack.
Oh, good.
Yep. He was Jason in the final chapter, and I got to say, he did a hell of a job. But
Good for him.
Yep. But, they're getting up there. I know we've lost a couple. Steve Dash is gone, and so is Richard Brooker. But the others are still hanging on. But
Still going strong. Well, meanwhile, the owners of the brand, they're all arguing and fighting nicely. So there's not been a movie in 9 years, and they're still arguing. All merchandise is on hold right now.
well, I'm going to tell you, there's some stuff being done about that. Like Debbie Sue Voorhees, who was in the 5th film, is directing a film called 13 Fanboy, which brings together a lot of the alumni cast, plus Dee Wallace, and I'm a co-producer on that. That was on Indiegogo, and I couldn't help. That was the first thing I ever got involved with. And
Good.
Yep, and Adam Marcus is making Hearts of Darkness, the making of the Final Friday, where he clears some air about his reputation over that film after some things have been said and that were not true, and I'm backing him on this because I remember it back when it came out in Fangoria magazine and whatnot, so I know it was said. But nonetheless, I'm on that as associate producer. So those are, and then there's fan films. I don't know if you've seen Never Hike Alone, but if you haven't, you got to see it.
All right.
Yeah, that's a Friday the 13th a fan film directed by Vincent DeSante, and it's got like 2 people in a majority of the film.
All right.
Yep, and Debbie Sue Voorhees liked what they did with that so much, she's got them on board with 13 Fanboy. And I got to say, they did a remarkable job. It's called Never Hike Alone, and it's on YouTube.
Damn. Okay.
Yep. And it's got a cameo from one of the alumni cast as well. So, but yeah.
Good luck to them. I know there's another one called Vengeance or something, and this guy who was trying to play Jason, he ended up nearly cutting his arm off in some ridiculous set of circumstances. I don't know why they used a real machete blade on the set, and that Vengeance, he almost lost his arm.
Okay, yeah, I did see Vengeance. That's the one where they brought in C.J. Graham to play Elias Voorhees. That had Steve Dash and C.J. Graham in it, so that had 2 Jasons in it.
Yeah, I don't know, but it can never be released. I don't know what they're doing with it. It can only be showed to fans at a convention, because they did it without the rights of the overall brand.
Actually, what they did...
it's not going to be released in any theater, put it that way. It's not on any distribution channel that you know of.
Well, what they did with Never Hike Alone, they raised the money, and any money that came in for DVDs or Blu-rays went to a charity. And they were able to back up that, so that's what saved their butts. So,
all right. Well,
yep. So
everybody's trying to do their own project any way they can to get it done.
Well, I find it interesting in the day and age now that people... I'm cameoed in 7 James Balsamo movies. He makes horror comedies, and he asked me to cameo, and I'm not an actor, but I was able to do this. And I just shot my stuff on my phone and had it sent to him, and he spliced it into the movie. Like, I'm going to have a scene... My scenes are going to be viewed by Eric Roberts on a television, and I'm like, I never met Eric Roberts, and I'm in a movie with him, in a scene with him, just like that, and I never even had to leave the city.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, anyway, whatever works, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say one thing though. Like you said, you were up for the part of Paul Holt, the counselor. And of course, John Fury got it. Did you have any approach or anything in mind when you went after that role?
No, they were just reading you. So you would just go in there and give it your best shot.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made a determination who they felt was most suited for that role.
Okay. Well, I gotta say, there was a lot of stunning women on that film. A lot. Of course, you have Amy Steele, Laura Marie Taylor, you had Marta Kober, and of course, Kirsten Baker. And Adrian King, of course,
Yeah.
is featured at the beginning. Um, what was it like being around such beauties?
It was a good time. When I was young, we all were young. And, I was living in New York City, and things were rocking then, and Studio 54 was rocking, and there were gorgeous women everywhere. And, yeah, there were cuties on the set, and everybody's falling in love with Kristen Baker, and it was
I
a
bet.
great time.
Any stories of
Great
her?
time. And then Steve Miner was busy fighting the cast off the girls because he wanted the girls.
Oh, did he have his eye on anybody in particular?
I would say he was making a run at Kristen Baker.
Well, I can't blame him on that.
And then he'd be angry if she liked anybody else other than him. And then if she was in anyone's cabin, he'd be angry and then try to get that person removed. Oh, yeah, it was a whole little circus going on.
Yeah.
I remember I took a bunch of the kids water skiing out in Camp Crystal Lake, and I know he got angry at that. Like, oh, I'm risking people's life and neck, and I'm out there slaloming around, and I had Kristen Baker, and everybody's having a great time, and he's freaking out because I put his cast members in jeopardy. Please.
Wow. Well, I of course, you were too young at the time, but you probably, I don't know how, like, that, of course, is when your hormones are starting to get out of control and whatnot. I don't know how I'd handle it around on a set with these people.
Well, it's like anything else, man. You got gorgeous women around you, and you're all living in these cabins back in the woods. So, people are migrating around. It was like being at camp. Other campers, kids, it's like a bunch of college kids at a camp. And you're living there for a month backwards. Your life is backwards because you're up all night and you're trying to sleep in the day.
Do I dare ask if you was peeking in on her skinny dipping scene?
Oh, everybody was. Everybody took a corner in the woods and was hiding behind a tree. And then here she is naked. And we're like, oh, my God. It was, and she was looking spectacular.
Yeah, she just got off Gas Pump Girls. So, yeah, she was definitely stunning. Everybody remembers Kirsten
And
Baker.
had an amazing figure. She had that fabulous hard body, California girl, hard body. And, oh, Lord. Yeah, everybody was flipping out over that.
Yeah. What do you remember about Amy Steele?
Well, she was cute, the strawberry blonde hair, freckles, cute, all-around girl.
Mm-hmm.
The other girl was more, more sexual, sensual looking, naked in the lake. Amy was more of a, all-American girl.
Mm-hmm.
The blonde, red hair, freckles, that kind of thing.
Talk about having to come through the window and tackle her. Because that's done kind of in two cuts. You got you coming through the window, and then, of course, you've got, shows your slow motion, the side of your head that's got all the hair, and then you're slowly pulling her down and showing your less than nice side where you had problems with the razor. Talk about that.
I grabbed her, and she's busy screaming like hell. Mm-hmm. And she had not seen me before in makeup. So when she saw me coming through the window, that was the first time she saw it. So she was scared to death. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. She peed in her pants. She freaked out so hard. And I grabbed her. And then we proceeded to do that 10 more times, but at least they got on tape, her first outrageous reaction to the face of Jason.
Tell me, were you did Muffin go all Cujo on you?
Yeah, Muffin had a heart attack. I don't know if that damn dog survived.
Yeah.
Oh, Muffin.
Yeah. Well, here. I want your theory on this. You don't see what happened to Paul Holt, and of course you see Jenny Field, Amy Steele carted off in the ambulance. Do you think Paul survived, or do you think he was taken out?
I'm not sure. I don't think he survived.
Yeah, yeah. That's everybody's theory. But no, they did not show that. Was there any discussion about that on set?
No, no. There was enough. There was enough other issues to worry about.
Okay. I gotta ask you about some of the other girls, of course. Lauren Murray Taylor. Do you remember much of her?
Yeah, she was a doll. Couldn't have been nicer.
Yeah. And of course, you got Marta Kober. I like that little subplot with Bill Randolph and Marta Kober interested to find the old camp. I like that. It was a nice little touch, I felt.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, I love it when she calls him a chicken shit.
Yeah, it was all good. And, it's a shame they had to get impaled while having sex, but, that's the way it goes.
A lot of people say they like the wheelchair killing the best in the movie, and yeah, that was a great kill. For me, I think it's the double impalement that always stood out to me. Of course, that was the scene that nearly got... Yeah, that was the scene that nearly got the film an X rating.
Yeah, and the other boy, Tom McBride, that was a catastrophe. Down the staircase backwards in a wheelchair, and I helped with that stunt. Some of those scenes going backwards in the chair down the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
He's in it. I'm helping, and then that chair goes down.
What I found interesting, I did not know this until I saw photos recently. I didn't know that he could walk in real life. Of course, he's passed away now, but I did not know that he wasn't really wheelchair bound. It says something very cynical about Jason, that he'll kill somebody in a wheelchair.
Yeah, I know. It was rough. It was rough. And Tom McBride, he died young. He died young.
Yes, he did. And I've had Russell Todd on, talked about hanging upside down in a snare.
Yeah, Russell died. So sorry.
Yeah,
and he's alive. He's alive now, but he died quickly. There.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have a favorite kill in the movie?
Probably that impaling scene that we discussed is pretty strong in my mind.
Yeah, that was taken from Twitch of the Deaf Nerve, and that was an interesting little reference to that. And of course, I would love to see an uncut version of this film, because I've seen various different pictures from the double impalement scene. Of course, the MPAA cut all the pieces, but I'd love to know if the footage exists out there somewhere they could do an uncut. People say it's gone, but I don't know. These things seem to surface somewhere. And I'll tell you, if they come out with uncut versions of the Blues Brothers and Stripes, which were both out around that time, then I can't see why these wouldn't be intact somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you before we move on to Blaze Social, is there any other interesting anecdotes about Friday the 13th Part 2? Anything funny that happened on set or anything of that nature?
Nothing that really stands out of my mind. It doesn't cover people peeing in their pants, a nude scene in the lake, a dog having a heart attack and dying, blasting through a window.
What, Muffin actually had the heart attack?
No, I don't think so. I know Muffin, but that dog, yeah, that dog was around when I come blasting through.
Yeah.
Oh, Muffin. So, there was a lot going on. We've covered all the craziness of a bunch of kids, pretty much all for their first major job, living in a camp for a month, 30-day shoot. And it was pretty shocking. So, they're blowing about $35,000 a day on the job. And the budget, if you can imagine, was $1 million.
Okay.
And it really launched an amazing brand. And then it's shocking we're still talking about it to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's amazing. I'm flattered. I'm shocked, and I'm overwhelmed to be part of the brand. And I see all the toys going by, and the neck of this, and the Funko Pop going. It's shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are seeing it for the first time. But to answer your question, I think we've covered all of the crazy elements that made it what it is today.
Were you involved in any way in the Adrian King opener?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, let's move on to Bloody Social. I looked this up. This looks really interesting. A bloody social movie, a Palm Beach nightmare. Blood is thicker than money. I loved your combination of Alfred Hitchcock and Quentin Tarantino here. And I know you have a backstory here, a true life backstory about your father. Do you want to get into details about this, about the background of this movie and
well, I can tell you this, that my father was married to a very wealthy, mean heiress, steel heiress from the South. Her grandfather started one of the biggest steel companies in the United States. So he had some grand lifestyle with her for like 30 years, and until when she basically no longer had a use for him. So she goes on with a big lurid love affair with this young Latin guy. And unfortunately, on Friday the 13th, I don't know why, she invited the priest over for lunch. My father's there for lunch. On Friday the 13th, and by 2:30, he drops dead after lunch. So she claims that she didn't notice that he's dead, which is impossible, particularly if you're living in a mansion with a staff of about 15. Because when people die, you notice, believe me. There's some body functions that are very clear. Someone just died. She calls 911 at 9:30 that night. Like, what? Well, by the time the paramedics got there, they realized that this is like, he can't go to the hospital. So they just take him to the funeral parlor.
Okay.
And so by the time I get the news of all this, I'm like, what? This is one of the worst days of your life when you get a phone call advising you that one of your parents just dropped dead.
Okay.
Particularly if you've been with him a week prior and he was in good health. So obviously you're going to be hurt pretty bad by this. And then you're going to say, well, what in the hell was in the lunch? You had lunch and dropped dead? Well, what was in the lunch?
Well,
so the circumstantial evidence kept stacking up. And then the woman says to me, my stepmother says, oh, don't think you're getting anything because everything's going to her. I go, oh, okay. Her lawyers wrote his will, left everything to her. So I sat on the sidelines. I really didn't say too much. And I observed what was happening. She then goes off to the south of France with her new Latin lover. And I'm going, now give me a break. Meanwhile, I give her these beautiful letters of condolence. She responded to that with a box of pots and pans, told me to shove it in memory of my father. Well, of course, then the next phone call was to Richard Johnson. I'll never forget, the New York Post, who loves me. And I said, Richard, God damn, she definitely whacked my father. So that spawned off about 10 stories in the New York Post, more National Enquirer, more of the Globe. Thus, a nightmare concept, a novel was born. So it was entitled Bloody Social. Okay, Nightmare in Palm Beach. Okay, and it's loosely based on the sudden mysterious death of my father. Okay, and now you could take a page out of William Shakespeare's Hamlet book and build a nightmare revolving around revenge of the death of the father. We've already done revenge of the death of mommy. Jason Voorhees has been doing that for 35 years. I killed for mommy. So what's wrong with Hamlet now on a mission for daddy? Okay. And make this vigilante a sympathetic vigilante. You're going to understand what he's doing. He's going to identify these conspirators that played a role in the death of the father, and they're going to get whacked, period. And the Black Widow going to get whacked.
Yeah, I was just going to ask that.
And then you're going to then have a setup for a continuing series, because now you got a likable vigilante like Dexter, and he's on the move, and he's removing a tainted society of a problem. And in this particular case, it's a Black Widow. And in the next set of circumstances, it could go to Beverly Hills or some other place, and there's going to be another big problem. Okay. And our man's going to hit that. And so it's been quite a process to try to put it all together. It's been a process to get out final drafts and try to put together your screenplay. You make the setup that's based on real life facts that happened. And then the nightmare is the confrontation. What is going on here? Okay. What is the dramatic need of our man? Why are you watching this? What are you rooting for him to do? And then you have a resolution. And it'll set up the series. So right now, the timing's perfect. You want to talk about a nightmare in the president's backyard? Half of this nation is like, yeah, when do we start?
Yep. Well, I saw your trailer for it, or where you're dressed in the white suit there, and I like that.
That's a little promo intro. What's going on?
I like that hockey mask, the gems. I thought that was kind of cool.
That could be a signature item, and I'm going to make those in beautiful Swarovski crystals, and the ruby slash marks and crystals, and then people that go on the Indiegogo, they can get them. That's okay. One of the perks to subscribe to.
Well, it's mentioned here you're trying to get a name in this movie. What are your ideas, and what's your process going on there?
Well, the idea first is to put together a little budget that'll allow you to really professionally package this and make some attachments. So if you made a key attachment, hypothetically, let's say Sharon Stone type,
okay,
you'd have to put the money down, attach her, and she's going to be the Black Widow of Palm Beach. Perfect. Now you're in a business to then go and put together a budget, $5 million, and make this a full fabulous feature for international domestic distribution.
Mm-hmm.
So not sure what director you could get, but somebody of the ilk of a Jordan Peele, and then you attach a couple of, if you could attach an A-list actress, 55 like her, now you got a project.
So okay.
Step one was to put together that little continuing developmental budget, and then you go after your production budget.
Well, on the Indiegogo, it says here you're trying to raise, was it 150,000? Correct me if I'm wrong.
175,000 when we have about 40 days to go.
Okay.
And we'll see where that ends up. And whatever money comes in will be completely spent towards developing it further.
Okay.
Attaching a Sharon Stone, if not her, somebody else of her ilk.
Okay.
And then you go for the production budget. And each person is going to definitely get something of value in the perk, whether it's an Andy Warhol style acrylic on canvas, it's a substantial piece of Swarovski crystal mask, or an autographed little polo mallet that's used as a murder weapon in the movie. I am making sure that any subscribers to it are getting something of significant value.
So will we all get screen credit?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I'm looking at some of these here. You got Palm Beach Nightmare, for example, you know. You could pick one of four pictures for autograph there. And plus, there's an autograph of one from Bloody Social, right?
Yeah, so you'll get one from the brand of Friday 13,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're going to get the signed a poster of the movie.
Okay. And then you go down from here, you have signed metal machetes.
Yeah, you got
Yeah.
machetes. They normally go for $50 at a convention, and the mask goes for $50 at a convention,
Mm-hmm.
and a picture goes for $30, $40.
Mm-hmm.
So these are items that people are buying anyway. So
Yeah.
they could save money and buy it on this program.
Oh, so when do you expect to get started with this project? Like in terms of filming and stuff? Do you have an idea?
But definitely next year, definitely the calendar year of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the screenplay, we need about 30 days to shoot this.
Okay.
And you got some fabulous scenes like Ocean's 11, fabulous scenes in South Florida, yachts, beautiful the States. We have a money manager that's a polo patron, so I'm going to reenact a U.S. Open Finals championship. And that money manager, patron, he gets whacked after the game. You have beautiful scenery in Monte Carlo. We have a wedding up at the medieval town called Ez.
Mm-hmm.
And then the wedding night of the Black Widow, she'll come down to this fabulous yacht in the marina, so that we take the viewer around the world. The viewer is going to see some beautiful scenery, beautiful sets, beautiful locations, and almost a double story going on, because you do have the journey for revenge and justice, and then you also have a compelling love story, and then there's some twists and turns. We even take you into a fabulous 5-star strip club, the Moulin Rouge.
Okay.
And where you have a gorgeous Russian stripper who has a newfound relationship with the Latin lover, new husband of the Black Widow. So you have a little double story going there.
Okay. Well, that's one thing that grabbed me with this is the locations, Palm Beach and Florida and Miami and places like that. You got some and you don't see a lot of slasher type movies in that kind of environment. But
No.
this actually looks like it could be really great if it comes together right.
Hey, listen, if Get Out, in my mind, could be made for $3, $4, $5 million, $4.5 million, it grosses $350 million.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Trust me, I make a first-class thriller, dramatic thriller in the president's backyard in this moneyed island called Palm Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I make $5 million and make it a beautiful picture. I am extremely confident it could gross $100 million.
You go get
Sold all over the world? Come on. Sold all over the world, and you're uncovering a story. And by the way, what if that facilitated a DA to open up the death of my father and do an autopsy to find out how Mr. Gillette really died? And there's other good news that we cannot get sued for libel, because the Black Widow, she just died about 4 months ago.
Okay.
So she'll never be able to sue us.
Well, that's good for you.
Because the bitch is dead. So now we can tell our nightmare it's going to be a fabulous nightmare. And yes, can you imagine Quentin Tarantino meeting Alfred Hitchcock in Palm Beach?
There you go.
The president's backyard? What?
Yep. Well,
That's right.
The
blackest hearts, okay? The blackest hearts here, and there are many, and the beautiful blue waters of the Atlantic Ocean and the white sandy beaches are about to run blood red.
There you go. Well, I did love your pitch for this, and I shared this, the link to this out on several of the horror sites on Facebook, and I noticed that you got a few backers just from that. So hopefully, this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to check on that. Send them a thank you memo. And on my website, you're going to see a new benefactor list pop up. And those names are going to be on the benefactor list, the thank you benefactors.
Okay.
And then we're going to stay on this course. And you got the holidays coming, and people want to be involved with something.
Yes.
And I welcome them. And then the next round will be people that will become partners and owners of the brand. So they're going to have to then participate in a very standard Hollywood partnership offering. And whatever they put in, they own their pro rata share of the name, the brand, the merchandising. And by the way, this could easily segue into a video game on Xbox like Grand Theft Auto, and you set it in Palm Beach.
Oh, there you go. You going to have Amy Steele in it?
That's a good question. I will definitely have to say yes on that. Her husband is a big name in Palm Beach, which is kind of interesting. Her husband is the son of a big name named Peter Pulitzer.
Okay.
And Peter Pulitzer is the son of a famous woman in Palm Beach, Lily Pulitzer.
Okay.
And you see her brand still being sold on floral clothing across the United States, Lily Pulitzer. So anyway, she's married to a Pulitzer. So yes, she's from Palm Beach. So yeah, we got to have her in somehow, some way.
What about Kirsten Baker?
Yeah, be sure. So I welcome you. You can help me. I will be very appreciative. And with people that either want to be a partner, owner, or they want to be a supporter on Indiegogo.
Well, yeah.
Whatever
I think
suits
so.
them.
Sure.
And one of those perks you even see is a hot date with Jason. The Monte Carlo, the grand offer perk.
There you go. Is it going to be out in that old shack in the backwoods with the mother's head on the table?
I guess we'll have a hot dinner date somewhere that person wants. In a city that's convenient to everybody.
Okay. Do you have any charities or anything like that you support that you want to plug on here?
Yeah, I do. Maybe the American Diabetes Foundation.
Okay. And you obviously have a web page you want to plug, right?
Yeah, and I'm very supportive of all veterans. I'm a big fan of them.
Yep.
And I'm so happy that a bunch of them are getting pardoned, and I feel so bad for some of their journey, and yeah, my hat's off. So I'm a big supporter of that. My website, it's bloodysocialmovie.com, all one word.
Yep.
So please go there and take a bounce over to the Indiegogo and show Jason some love.
Yes, absolutely. Well,
we need this.
Well, do you have anything else you want to plug before I close off?
No, I've said what I've said, and I need the support of the people that have been so kind to follow Friday the 13th. Now I'm reaching out and trying to get Jason to go to the next level. And yes, this would be a dream to have a project of your own, a brand of your own.
Yep.
And, of course, have it be a big success money maker for the owners, for the partners.
Okay. Well, I don't know where Jerry Wallace is, but I will say rest in peace, Steve Dash. And I thank you for coming on the show, and hopefully we'll see some Palm Beach action there. I don't know if there's any slashers on Palm Beach now or not. I'm not that equipped on slashers, but it sounds like an interesting setting for it. So there you go.
There you go. Well, please keep me posted, and we welcome you to be on board any way that works.
Okay. Well, before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Okay, everybody. This is Warrington Gillette, and we're so grateful you've been listening here with myself and Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise show. We are located in New Brunswick, Canada, and all the best, and I'll see you in the woods.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and you have yourself a wonderful day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yep, bye.
Bye.